about milk myths, milk facts. As you know, here in Massachusetts, you can't buy raw milk in stores. You have to go to a farm to buy it directly from there. Does that make it safer to drink? And is it safe to drink raw milk?
I think here's the bottom line.
Yeah.
CDC showed that over a 20-year period, there were about 202 outbreaks from raw milk. Okay, that's important. Foodborne illness from raw milk compared to 9 from pasteurized milk. So overall, pasteurized milk is safer from an infectious perspective, but the absolute risk is low. There are over 10 million people drinking raw milk every year, and there are roughly about 10 hospitalizations from that raw milk. Now, I want to be very clear. CDC does not recommend that we drink raw milk. Okay? And I believe that if you're in a vulnerable population, extremes of age, pregnant woman, immunocompromised, you really should avoid raw milk. But in other healthy people, I think the bottom line is we always have to know the risks, the benefits, and the alternatives. Just like with eating raw oysters, just like green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables make up about 10% of foodborne illness. But of course, there's so many positive nutrients with that.
Right. I think a lot of people, though, when they think about raw milk, especially now, there's been a spike. It seems like a surge of more people interested. They think, I hear a lot of talk about, hey, it's the nutritional value, also good for your gut. What say you about that?
All right, so now you're asking about the benefits of raw milk. And I think
Are
when
there?
you look at the science, at least, it doesn't necessarily support the benefits over pasteurized milk. Probiotics, for example, are supposed to come from human gut bacteria. The bacteria that's in raw milk is from the cow's udder. So I think that's one thing. Some people think that you can cure lactose intolerance by drinking raw milk. Lactose intolerance has nothing to do whether it's raw or whether it's pasteurized. So I think some of these are myths. Obviously, some people like the taste of it better. It can be creamier. And if you do and you're otherwise healthy, I think that's okay as long as you realize there is a small increased risk of foodborne illness. And some of those illnesses like Listeria, Salmonella, Campylobacter can be very serious.
Which is important to know, to just get the information, the facts, before you make your decision, right? Because some people just like the taste, right? Or they just prefer, something else, but it's not necessarily always about the nutritional value, which may not necessarily be there.
Agree. And we started with bird flu.
Yeah.
The question about whether bird flu will be transmitted through raw milk, that's still a question mark. There haven't been cases, but it's still early, so I think that question's unanswered. So we have to be cautious.
We could talk about this for a long time. I have a lot of questions here, but Dr. Eller, we always appreciate your insight on this. Thank you so much for being here, as always.
Good to see you, John.